What's going on, everybody? It's David from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you see a Patreon account. You click, you become a member. All you got to do is try recommend movies and music and trailers for me to react to. Now, with that being said, we're here today with a movie review for the movie by the name of The Forever Purge. We sat back and we thought to ourselves, when the hell is this movie going to end? And they slowly responded, not anytime soon. So let's go ahead and get into this. So let's talk a little bit about the cast. We have Ana de la Reguera, who is from the show Narcos, and all, but I know her from Nacho Libre. You have Josh Lucas. I know he's been in a bunch of films, but I know he's been in like American Psycho, if I believe. And then we also have Tenoch Huerta, who I know from Tigers Are Not Afraid. If you guys like Pan's Labyrinth, then you will definitely like Tigers Are Not Afraid. The Forever Purge is basically a quick synopsis of it without giving away a spoiler. Is basically it's a group of people that survive the night of the purge, and then all of a sudden, people decide I don't want the purge to end, so they continue purging after the 12 hours is already completed. So this is basically what happens the day after, and what happens if people don't abide by these rules, right? So this is a what if, well, not a what if scenario. This is basically a scenario that happens. Um, Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the things that I liked. Then there are some things that I really didn't like, but I'll get into that later. The main things that I liked is some of the camera work. The camera work was really cool. There's this cool scene, this cool chasing scene where it seems like a body cam, like a low quality body cam, and it's following the people riding on like a motorcycle, and it's kind of like from their POV. I thought that shot was really cool, and the whole like night sequence, the whole chasing scene was really cool. The kills are pretty awesome, and honestly, I like the story, but there's something that I don't like, the theme, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So the story to me feels like it kind of feels like it caught the essence of the original Purge, like the first couple of ones, right? But it's the theme. The theme of this just keeps bugging me. It bothered me the whole freaking movie. The theme of this movie, which didn't need to be implemented, is there is a racial overtone. I'm not even going to say undertone because it's not low key. It's high key. It's an overtone. There's a racial overtone in this movie. You can kind of get a glimpse of it. You can kind of get a hint of it from the trailer, but it is very, very centered in that racial aspect. And honestly, it takes me out of the movie. I really thought that this movie wasn't going to go that route because of the failures of the first Purge and how it seemed like it tried to focus a little bit on too much race and not enough about the class, which was what this whole series was based on originally. And it just took it away. First Purge took all of that class shit away. Even though it was grounded in class, it made it about race and it made it feel kind of unauthentic. Now, what they could have done with this movie is if you would have had a racial undertone and made it seem like maybe there was a group of people that were kind of have this mentality and it's a small percentage, maybe even like a fraction of the whole organization, or like Rogue Army or whatever they're called, then fine, that makes more sense. But to have a whole organization grounded and founded within this ideology, and then there's also a contradiction in there, which I'm going to get into maybe a little bit later. But to have this organization grounded in this mentality and to make it so widespread, to me, it was kind of like, I don't get it. Like, it's not, it doesn't seem logical to me. And I know people are probably sitting there like, well, this is a horror series, not much logicalness to it. Yes, there is. You can put a lot of logic into it. You don't have to be overt about it. You could have made the racial aspect a super undertone. You could have surprised us with it, with like at one part and just be like, boom, have somebody say something racial, and then you're like, oh, you went there. Okay, I got you, homie. Then that would have probably made us be like, kind of, I hate this guy, right? But if you're making it an overtone and you're making it the central focus, then everybody's going to know what to expect. Another thing, speaking of knowing what to expect, this movie gets kind of predictable at a while. Like, you can kind of see exactly where this movie's going. It's not It's not one of those movies that's supposed to keep you guessing. It's not trying too hard to throw you off the trail, right? It's a pretty straightforward movie. But at the same time, when you're watching it, I don't like when they kind of like straight up give you like what's going to happen next. Like somebody makes it a little bit too obvious that they have hidden agendas or alternative motives, and it's just like the whole time I'm sitting there thinking to myself,
look out, you guys, he's up to something.
While I'm watching this movie, like that scene happens. And then another thing that I was talking about earlier was that there's this contradiction. There's this huge contradiction in the movie with ideologies. There's an ideology that's introduced at the beginning of the film when the purge continues to happen at the beginning, and then it changes like midway all the way onward to the end, and it becomes something completely different. And I personally don't understand why the hell they went that route. It really seems like maybe it was two different movies, and then they just changed it up halfway through and was like, you know what, this sounds better, which it doesn't. But like I said, the essence of the purge is there. It's cool. It's in there, but at the same time, it's polluted with this theme that I don't like. It's a theme, like I said, that carried over from the first purge, which is the racial aspect, and I don't like the racial aspect because it doesn't work here. Okay, like if you like, how can I put this without like just going on a like freaking spoil rant? You can do this without being too overt about it. Candyman. I know I've been talking a lot about Candyman lately. Candyman talks about a lot of racial issues within it, and it doesn't make it overt. It's low key, it's within the context of the story, and it flows naturally. Sometimes when you have a story and you're trying too hard to push a line, it pollutes the story and it makes it just ugh. Like it takes away the authenticity of it. It takes away the hit from it. It takes away the punches. It makes it lose its substance, and it makes it lose its identity. And that's where I feel like these purge movies are going. They're losing their identity. I get it. This movie started and was grounded in class struggles. Racial aspects are grounded in class struggles. But at the same time, you don't need to make it a central focus of this film in order to make it good. We can get the hints. Like we got the hints from part one. When you made it the black guy that was getting chased and then he goes into the house, there's probably a racial dynamic involved in this. You didn't need to tell us that. We already know. You don't need to play the audience like we're stupid. Sometimes I feel like these studios make it seem like we're so dumb that we can't figure out what you're trying to say. You don't need to put something in our face in order to be like, dang, well, if you never would have did that, I never would have saw that. Gee golly, right? No, you don't need to do that. You can put things in the movie and we'll figure it out because we don't need you baby spoon feeding us, dude. We don't need you to do the, here comes the airplane. We don't need that. We don't need that. All you have to do is make a movie, let us watch it, and let us figure it out. That's the beauty of some movies. Some movies is going outside of the movie theater and freaking talking about how good it was or what you got from it or what you think it was about. Now you just walk out the movie theater and you know exactly what it was because the studio was like, here you go, Timmy. We don't need that. We need you to stop acting like the audience is a bunch of idiots. I get it. This new generation is kind of like, they kind of slow. Ain't gonna lie. But you don't need to spoon feed everything. Make people think. Make the audience think. There's nothing wrong with that. So, here on the Cinema Chop Shop, we grade movies in 3 ways. Count it, 3 ways. You either get bodied and sent to the bowels of hell. You either get spared, and you tell you how great your movie is, or you get a big fat meh. Now, this movie was not as bad as the first Purge, which gives it a lot of points. But that theme was really screwing with me. But is that theme bad enough to make this movie get bodied? That's the question that we have here. I'm going to body this movie. Fuck it.
Get what
what you fucking deserve! I just caught me a mean body!
The reason why I'm going to body this movie is because this movie did not learn anything from the first movie. What it did was it just took the things that everybody hated from the first Purge and just reinvented it and then brought it back in. You don't need to push this narrative so hard because it dilutes the movie, and it diluted it to the point. I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was fun. It was great. You honestly didn't need the racial dynamic involved. But the fact that you're going to play me as an audience member as an idiot, and you're going to bring in another idea or another theme that a lot of people didn't like from the first Purge, and you're bringing this back into this movie, and you're just trying to rework it and feed it to us, you're trying to play us like idiots. So for that, you get bodied, homie. That's my review. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree, whatever the case may be. You are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. I hope you guys are having a magnificent day. Adios, homies.